Okay, speaking of tough, let's actually start from the very beginning when you first came in. What was your mindset coming in? You know, was there a lot of pressure? You were basically following a man who had led the team to 2 straight championships. Was
He
there
won 4.
4?
He
but
won 4.
2 straight ones
2
and
2.
right. And now how much was the pressure to win a 3rd straight championship?
This is how I look at things. The things that I'm in control of, I mind. The things that I'm not in control of, the pressure, the expectations, I can set that aside.
Okay.
If I think about what I was supposed to do, it would have been doubly difficult for me, mentally and physically. So what I did was just buckle down to work.
Right away.
Take a look at what the team had, and then try to immerse myself in the situation, bring in the new coaches, and learn from them. We had to fit in because it's already a formed team when we got in. And then slowly but surely, we tried to fit in the system that we believe that would work for the roster that we absorbed. It was not a shortcut formula, believe me.
Right.
I didn't know it if I was on the right track. My only baseline was we will work hard, we will learn, and then we will be fair. And that at the end of the day, I will be accountable for everything. There will be no excuses.
Well, you introduced a completely new system that was very
just
different.
on defense.
Just on defense.
I did not touch the offense. I
Okay.
just put in several plays on offense. But I put in a defensive mindset, believing that the roster that I inherited was very different from the dominant team last year.
Absolutely.
No Semerad, twins.
Garbolanete.
Yeah, Garbolanete, no
Dave
Dave Marcelo,
Marcelo.
no Villahermosa. And talk about the core. We're talking about the core of the
Right.
Red Lions that was so dominant in its
Right.
run 2 years ago. Yes, we had Ola Diogon. Yes, Julius Armon was still there when I got in. But Julius Armon left the team after about a month that I was in. And so I had to make the adjustments once again because I lost the only off-screen shooter that we had. I was accountable and I understood that I had to make the necessary adjustments heading into the NCAA season. And I was praying that whatever difficulties, whatever humps that they were there, will be set aside eventually. I did not know what lied ahead because I inherited a system, a team that was already there. The problems were there. It was nobody's fault, but it was already there. Unfortunately for me, I had to work my way through it. And that was the difficult part for me. Teaching and learning and understanding what I needed to do to be able to make things work.
Did you experience any resistance from the players who have been used to Coach Frankie?
No. But they were telling me that they were finding it odd.
Okay, at least they were open.
Yes, very open. It was quite an adjustment for them. And so what I pointed at was the communication lines will always be open.
Okay.
There will be a 360 difference between what was before and what is now.
Okay.
But what was before is no longer now. What is now will try to work for you. And as I've always explained to them, the players will always be the highlight of this program. We are just here to mentor. We don't plan to stay for long. All we're here is to serve the school, serve the Bedouin community, and help you reach your potential. That's all.
It's a very different mindset. It wasn't, you didn't come in and you said, you know, we're going to win.
I cannot promise that.
What was the first thing you told them?
That I will be accountable for everything.
Okay.
And
so
that,
it's the trust.
yes,
It's building the trust.
I know that when I met them, I think it was April 2, lunch. I knew several players because I also covered some games for the NCAA before. It was, how do you say it? It was definitely a new challenge for me.
Right, I'm sure.
Talking to younger players, I was so used to dealing with professional players. And the way they look at you is something different also. They're very transparent. But I understood that it was a turbulent time for them.
Right.
It was a very unstable situation for these young players. It was as if you have shaken a boat.
Yeah.
It was as if a tidal wave came in to the team and then shook the boat, shook the ship.
Well, what was the morale like? Not only did their coach resign, but they also had several key players suspended because of that off-season brawl. You did not know
I
about
was
that?
reading about that, but
Okay.
I was not into it because I was busy with the professional
So
team
you're
that
very
I'm
detached.
helping. Yeah, I just when I support a team like the UP Maroons and the San Beda Red Lions and the San Beda Red Caps, I try to detach myself.
Okay.
I go there as a fan. I go there as someone who studied in that school, just hoping and praying that the team wins and then cheering them on.
And what was the morale when you came in?
Oh.
Did you notice that people were a little bit...
Yes, they were not practicing. I think They were hanging the balance. And that's the reason why I told them, I'll give you 2 days, and then 2 days after, I'll see you in San Beda. We practice at 6:30 a.m.
Okay.
Because people will always say this and that, and the players will always listen to the outside forces. And so what I was trying to do was put their eyes on the prize,
Okay.
which is to defend the crown.
So how did you motivate them to do that?
Motivation is not my approach. My approach is you buckle down to work and everything will fall into place. Unfortunately for me, that buckling to work only took 10 days because the Fuel Oil League started April 12th. And we played, there was one instance that we played 5 games in 12 days,
Okay.
intersecting this with our PBA schedule.
Okay.
And that was a whirlwind time for me. Everything was happening so quickly. We practice in the morning for Meralco. We play for San Beda in the afternoon. I go over to Meralco for a PBA game at night. And then I do it again for about 3 times a week.
It's crazy.
Yes. And so, honestly, I think I've learned so much in the last 7 months compared to the first 45 years of my life.
What were your expectations coming in? It was your first time coaching a college team.
Expectations.
Did you? I mean, what did you expect the players to be like? Did you expect them to be different, or did it just sort of come?
That's a good question. I knew that they were Bedans, so that was my foundation.
Okay.
I knew that Bedans, when you talk to them the right way, they'll talk to you the right way.
Great.
And on my part, there was no expectation really. I just wanted them to work hard. And in so doing, we started knowing each other. There were a lot of arguments, there were a lot of disagreements. But what I told them, if I remember right, I think it was about the first week. We have to agree that we will disagree. And then after that, we stay as coach and player. You can tell me what you want, I can tell you what you want. But in the course of the next few months, we will disagree a lot. We might not like each other, but we have to work with each other. And then eventually, when all things are settled, then let's see if it works.
What's your relationship like? Is it a father-son relationship? Is it friendly? I'm sure it's coach and player.
I think it's difficult for me to be the one to assess myself, since I'm always near them and doing what I need to do to be able to teach them. I'd like to believe that I give them the chance to voice their opinions, and also at the same time play within what they need for them to be able to play well. But I coach the way I play, and I coach the way I raise my daughters also, giving them understanding, but at the same time pushing them to reach their potential. As I've said earlier, there's no shortcut formula. I didn't even know that it would work. But this is what I know, and this is what I believed in, and this is what I used when I was playing. And I felt that since I played for a long, long time, and even if I have not handled a team, I could use that playing experience to be able to help me.
Just to teach them using your own experience.
Yes, because 15 years in the professional league and being in the PBA since '86, playing for the national team, I think was enough experience for me to cross over to the new millennium with much knowledge and experience. When you talk about understanding and managing the egos and the players, I think it was enough for me.
Okay.
And even if you were not the pilot of the ship, at least I had quite an understanding because I observe people a lot and I try to learn from them. And so that is the experience that I used to be able to extract the best from them and to push them.
Okay.
And I hoped it worked.
Clearly it did. Actually, let's talk about that. How crucial was that first win when you won against Arellano with only 6 players?
Oh, you have to go back further because
To fill-
the first
to
game
fill
was
oil.
against LaSalle in the Fuel Oil. It was almost a lost game also. I was sweating a lot in the third quarter, but eventually the boys found ways to win. And then in the next game, I think we beat Ateneo. We were down by 18 in the first half. They found ways to
Came
win
back.
again. It was a huge upset. I think first win against Ateneo in a long time. So I think the trust was started to...
Starting to build.
Yes. And then we lost in the semifinals to LaSalle, and then we lost to Ateneo.
Teams that you've beaten.
Yes, and so once again it was shaken. And then the court case came in, and then I did not know that it was not yet done. I thought that it was settled. And so the suspensions were handed down eventually, and that it was decided by the MANCO of the NCAA that only 6 will be able to play on the first game. And I've been around the game for a long, long time, and I know that 12 is going to be a difficult number. 15 is a fair number, but 6 is quite a tough number for any coach in particular. And so I was counting the number of games before I had a complete lineup.
Okay.
I was telling my coaches in the first 4 games we should be 2-2. can be 1-3.
Okay.
But at the very least, you should be 2-2.
So, did you expect that first win?
No. No. Eventually, we had a 3-1 card in the first 4 games as we lost to Perpetual. But I think that first game, that miracle of a win, set the tone for the team.
How crucial was that?
We needed that win because if you take a look back on the reason why we were the first team to make it to the Final Four, it was because of that win. 2 weeks before, we were already in the Final Four. And the other teams were battling against each other, killing each other for the last seat. Fortunately for us, that win against Arellano gave us 15 wins already when teams only had 11.
Okay.
And so I told the boys, maybe this is what we are going to need because we need time to need time to get your playoff ready, and need time to build your mindset because this is a very young core. Majority of the players that we have right now are players, yes, who were a part of the champion team, but did not play major minutes. They were not major players, except perhaps for Rome and Anjo. But if you take a look at the roster, the averages last year, which I studied, no, they were not. And that's the reason why when we played big games in the field oil and in the NCAA, the reaction was quite different. And I said that we had to get ready for bigger games, for a bigger crowd, because every time the crowd was so big, we could not perform our best.
Oh, it's like almost buckling.
Yes. And then when I saw the game 1 of the finals, I said, if we are able to learn from our mistakes in the field oil, in the first round of the NCAA, in the second round, we will be ready.
Okay.
We will be ready.
And that's what happened.
Everything fell into place eventually. And I
Great.
think the teaching points that we were able to get after the failures, I think, was crucial for us. It would have been different if we have not lost in the first round, if we had not been beaten by San Sebastian, because
Right.
it's tough to teach when you are winning. It's tough because sometimes players don't listen to you anymore because it seems so easy for them to be able to win. But when we lost to San Sebastian and we struggled against Perpetual, I think the attention was there. After the game 1 win in the finals, it was tough again for us to be able to get them to focus on our
System.
yeah, not system really, on our teaching methods.
Okay.
But after the loss in game 2, 1 click,
Woke
they're
up.
ready to listen.
And as we all know, Manny Pangilinan is an avid supporter of
yes.
the team. How crucial is his support for you?
Well, number 1, he has been so generous for the team. Not only this year, I think started in 06. There was a battle cry in 06, I remember, and 28 in 06. 28 years of waiting ended in 2006. That was under Coach Koy Banal. So you mentioned about Coach Frankie Lim winning 4 titles. I have to look back to Coach Koy Banal because he was the one who stopped the drought in 2006.
Okay.
And then Coach Frankie Lim took over, won 4 titles in the last 5 years. So that is 5 titles in the last 6 years.
Yeah.
And then I come in. So you talk about the pressure and the expectations. I could not look back anymore because that will be too daunting for me, quite overwhelming, really. And so, as I mentioned earlier, all I did was buckle down to work, take a look at what I could do for the players and the team. And so, it's tough.